Well, Coach, we talked about it right off the top. Carmelo Anthony, an electric performance, 9 of 15 from behind the arc. He had 31 points, carried Team USA to a 98-88 victory in a win over Australia that really was not that big of a difference. Here's Melo.
We just had to relax as a team. We've all been in situations like this before in our own respective teams, and at the end of the day, it's just basketball. We're the best players in the world, so we had to make some adjustments, and we made those adjustments in the second half. And we felt like we gave up 50-something points in the first half, which was too much, and to hold them to 20-something, 30-something points in the second half, that was the key points of the game.
Mark Stein joins us now from Rio. He had a front row seat, although at times I bet you probably weren't sitting quite as close the way that U.S. played in that first half, down 5 at the half mark to Australia. The U.S. won. That's part of the story, but the big story is how close this game was. Why was it so close?
Well, Australia is a very experienced team, and they have a lot of continuity, a lot of chemistry. 4 of their starters started against the United States 4 years ago in the Olympics. They didn't have Bogut in that Olympics. Now Andrew Bogut is back. And, Mike Krzyzewski has been talking a lot about we have no experience as a group, and we're going to be playing teams that have all this experience as a group. And most people dismiss that as, it's just coach speak. He's just trying to be polite here. But I think you saw the illustration tonight of a team that knows itself inside out, and a team, this is not a team yet. These guys, they like each other. The camaraderie is great. They're having a great time away from the court. But tonight was the first game that Team USA really played. Mike Krzyzewski called it their first real international game, because if you look at the 7 games they've played to this point, 6 of them were against China, Venezuela, and Nigeria, probably the 3 weakest teams in the field. An aging Argentina team, that's the only medal threat that the United States has had played before tonight. So they played a team that is hot. Australia came in here coming off 2 huge wins, and they were ready. They executed fantastically well.
Mark, the undeniable story for the U.S. was the defense in the second half, but the scoring throughout by Carmelo Anthony. He had 14 in the first quarter, finished the game with 31. He saved the U.S.'s bacon big time. He's now the all-time leading scorer in U.S. history. Mark, what's his legacy as you see it with USA basketball?
Well, it's interesting. This has been going around now for the last 5-6 years, and you hear people around the league say, man, Carmelo Anthony is just a monster in the international game. He's better in FIBA than the NBA. I actually asked him about that a couple days ago, and as you can imagine, he doesn't really like that tag because it is such a different game, and obviously your legacy is defined by NBA success, but he is an absolute monster in the international game. You saw it tonight when he plays the 4 and bigger international players try to check him. They can't do it. He is a scoring machine. In London, he came off the bench and did it. On this team, he's the leader, 9 threes. And, as you guys heard him talk about there, just relax. It's easy for Carmelo to be relaxed. This is his 4th Olympics. He's been through this situation many, many times. But there's 10 first-time Olympians on this team and a lot of guys who had not been in a close game. And it's an adjustment when you go from blowing everyone out by 50 to now you are playing in a real tight game that you have to come from behind in. So they're lucky they had Carmelo Anthony to kind of show them the way, because they don't have a lot of experienced guys in that regard.
He has a chance to become the first men's basketball player to win 3 gold medals, does Carmelo Anthony. Mark, as we move forward here, what did the U.S. take from this game? What do they say they're taking from this game that's going to make them a better team throughout the rest of this tournament?
Well, they needed a test. They needed to have a real game, and they will take a lot from this, because we can talk about, this is a team that hangs its hat on defense, and to give up 54 points in the first half is just unacceptable. I promise you the coaching staff was not happy with the way they coped with Argentina's offense in the first half. Too much fouling again, gotten a lot of foul trouble. We could list 15 negatives, but in the end, this group that is still getting to know one another did find a way to pull away and win by 10 against the team that Mike Krzyzewski rightly says Australia is playing the best basketball in this tournament. They beat France by 21. They beat Serbia by 15, and they had the United States reeling for 2+ quarters. So Australia, this is the best performance that they've ever had at Olympics. They'd never started 2-0 before, and they believe that they're going to get their first medal. And I think people came away from this tonight saying, we might have just seen a gold medal preview. We could very well see these teams meet again in the gold medal game.
And we may see it for a long time to come, too. There are a lot of good young players, including Ben Simmons, who has Australian citizenship, Dante Exum, a few others in the NBA as well. U.S. gets Serbia on Friday. They've got Nikola Jokic, Denver Nugget player and one of the best point guards in the world, Milos Teodosic. Mark Stein with us from Rio on SportsCenter. Big dog, this was almost a really different show, if not for Carmelo Anthony. 31 points. He was 9 of 15 from behind the arc. Australia got 30 points from Patty Mills, but the U.S. hung on. And I mean, had to scrap and claw and come back in this game to win 98-88. Kyrie Irving, Melo combining for 26 of the 28 fourth-quarter points the U.S. scored. With his 31 points, Melo became the all-time leading scorer for Team USA. He began the day third on the all-time list behind David Robinson and LeBron, but he leapfrogged both of them, and man, oh man, did Team USA need it. Coach K, how do you explain this one?
Well, Carmelo Anthony is a tremendous player nationally, internationally, in the universe. He's one of the best players in the world. And he also has the most experience by far of anyone on our team playing the international game. So he's not only a great player, but he has played internationally more than any player on our team. And tonight, he ended up being the top scorer ever, for the U.S. in Olympic basketball. And tremendous accomplishment. And he's our leader tonight and has been our leader the entire trip.
It's old Kevin, the coach. The band's back together again. Welcome to a Fresh Hour Sports Center. And I tell you what, it's one thing to see a team, Kev, where you blow them out by 50 and everybody gets to play. You start to see the rotation. You start to see who's actually going to play. You get to see who's the leader and who's going to get the shots. That was Carmelo. That was Kyrie Irving.
And, Melo played this summer, right? I mean, LeBron, Chris Paul, Dwayne Wade, they said, no, we're not going to play this summer. Melo played. He gets killed all the time, and maybe sometimes it's fairly so, but he's one of the best players on the planet, as Coach K said, and he showed that in this game. And you got to give him credit for playing in the Olympics. This is fourth straight Olympics for him.
Yeah, give him credit for playing, but also give him credit for being the leader that they needed him to be. There's stars, and then there's the star of stars, and he clearly is that.
What sense did you get seeing KD for this first appearance there at Oracle, and now you've seen him play with Draymond and Clay, about how that's going to go?
Well, I think they'll have an adjustment period. There's no question about it. Playing with KD is fun. I've coached him twice. This will be the third time I've coached him, and actually, I almost made the Beijing team as a young guy from the select team. He's been that good. He's been with us the 11 years, and I see him grow. He's even better now, because he's very competitive, a little bit more vocal, and is a good teammate. And that night, I wanted it to be special for him because he's very sensitive, and he wants everyone to not necessarily like him, but respect him and think highly of him. So that decision knocked him back, I think, a little bit. And we've been talking.
The criticism that he engendered by deciding to go with the Warriors.
Yeah, one thing I told him, I said, when you're really good, you're going to be criticized, and you're going to be hated by a certain amount of people. Just if you win and if you're really good, that you might get 50 letters and 49 of them say how much they love you. Don't let the one letter ruin it. But we do a lot of times until you get a kind of immune to that. I said, so that's what you're going through now. and a lot of people are not going to like you because of the decision you made. I said, do you like the decision? He says, yes, I do. I said, well, all right. You don't have to answer to anyone else. Just let's get over this. I thought that night helped him get over it.
You know that from being at Duke.
I know.
You understand
I know
that.
what being loved and being hated, and with people not even knowing you. I know that, and thank goodness, because that means we've won. But you know, we've always respected the game and people, and I did tell KD this. You know what? Even the people who say they do not like you, they respect you. And if they don't, they're knuckleheads, because then they don't respect excellence. And you know what, man? You are excellent. You're the best. So if someone doesn't like that, that's cool. But they should respect you. And that's what a competitive person should want, that respect.
And Chris, we are right out of the gates with a stunner. Carmelo Anthony at 31 carried the U.S. to victory, but it was a game that was much closer than the 98-88 final. Australia led by 5 at the half. They got an unconscious performance from Patty Mills, who had 30. Kyrie went for 12 in the fourth quarter. He and Melo combined for 26 of 28 in that fourth quarter. But man, oh man, way too close for comfort for a lot of USA basketball fans. Melo went for 31 in the game, became the USA's all-time leading scorer. His 31 points also tied for the second most in a single game in Team USA history, behind the 37 he scored against Nigeria in 2012. But what did we just see there?
Well, I tell you what, it's one thing when you're blowing teams out by 50 and everybody gets to play, but when you have a close game, you start to see what the rotation is going to look like, who Coach K trusts, and certainly who the leader is.
Kevin, the coach, hanging with you on SportsCenter here for the next 2 hours. For me, you saw Australia play a way more physical brand of basketball. They took it to Team USA, and there are NBA guys on this team.